Last but not least is Dave Faulkner. I've also had the great pleasure of working alongside Dave on the coordinating team. And he, as many of you may know, is a very big part of the reason why we're all here today, having organized the meeting at the Rowing Club. This evening, he is here to talk to you about XR Chilterns. Dave, you have the final 10 minutes.
Right, thanks, Steph. I'm going to do a sharing screen as well. If I can find it. There we go. Yeah, just introduce myself. Fairly new to the environmental scene in Marlow. I know there's a lot of people around on this that have been doing a lot of good stuff for many years. I'm fairly new, although I did have a career in the energy industry, working in energy efficiency, conservation projects, and renewable energy. However, I was having a bit of an epiphany about a year ago at the April Rebellion, the Extinction Rebellion. Eyes were wide opened up to say, we've got to do something about this. And so started looking around at what to do. So you can either take a lot of action locally, or you can take action on a sort of larger scale, which is where XR fits in. So that's where XR is fairly different to quite a lot of the other groups that we've heard of tonight, is it's not really focused on local action, although we do occasionally get on Marlow Town Council's back, and probably Bucks Council as well. But I do get involved in some local issues as well, being part of Marlow Energy Group, and as you've heard with Marlow Can. So, who are XR? So, Extinction Rebellion. What I would say is that Extinction Rebellion, I know a lot of people will be uncomfortable with Extinction Rebellion, so we may as well talk about that. But I would say, don't judge a whole movement by the worst elements of it, or the things you don't like. Think about what the cause is. Extinction Rebellion has exactly the same objectives, is that we're trying to improve, save the planet by improving the climate and the ecological position. So Extinction Rebellion was formed 2018, and the declaration of rebellion was made in October of that year, and followed rapidly during 2019 by a couple of other rebellions in London, which raised, I think, the awareness around the country significantly. And I can't imagine that Parliament would have acknowledged a climate emergency in 2019 if Extinction Rebellion hadn't been there to raise the profile. How do Extinction Rebellion work, and what's the objective? What are we doing? So how do we go about things? Very much a non-violent, direct action civil protest organisation. Proven to be the best way to get government to change. And that's what Extinction Rebellion is about. It's formed to get governments, both national, local, to take action, appropriate action on the climate and ecological crisis. Also do lobbying of businesses, so fossil fuel industry, finance industry, start taking some different choices about where the future lies. The non-violent thing, what I would say about Extinction Rebellion, great organisation in terms of organisation and support for people. Being non-violent in a big rebellion can be difficult, and as you've seen recently, things can go wrong when you get a lot of people on the streets. And Extinction Rebellion, we've had training on how to be non-violent, how to de-escalation and that sort of thing. So take it all very seriously and try not to get dragged into the violent protests that don't really go anywhere. So this is a core slide of what Extinction Rebellion is really about, and what we're really trying to achieve. So there's three concepts here as to how to address the position we're in. First off, tell the truth. There's no point beating about the bush, ignoring the facts and hoping somebody else is going to do the work. So tell the truth. Act now. It needs to be done now. We can't keep putting it off, kicking the can down the road. And this concept of beyond politics, i.e. governments, both national and local, are governed by the electoral cycle. They have 5 years typically. They do everything they can to get the votes. So long-termism doesn't really work. So you need a different way. So then you probably all will have heard of the three demands. Again, some people might not like it, might not like the word demand, but to take the view that we are in a rebellion, you have to make a demand. Things need to be done. So the first demand is for the government to declare climate emergency. Just acknowledge the position where we are. Second demand, linked to Act 2, is plan and implement a net zero policy by 2025. Very fast. Can be done if we went on a war footing, see what's happened during COVID-19, the amazing things the government's been able to do, which was never possible before. 2025, Robin's already done quite a lot of what XR in his talk, what XR normally say about things that need to be done. 2025 is quite fast. As I said, Marlow Energy Group, we said 2030. But any beyond that, it starts to get more risky if you don't achieve it. So if you don't plan to do it by a very short period of time, you won't. If you don't plan to do anything, it's never going to happen. And the last point on there is to go with the beyond politics type approach, is that to try and get over this issue of the electoral cycle and government, politicking, is to get a citizens' assembly to be involved, choose people to take the decision, let the people take the decisions that gets it out of the political arena. And there has been a citizens' assembly that was set up, although it had no teeth, and whether the government will even read it or act on it is highly questionable. But they've carried on during the COVID crisis, and but I haven't seen any real things of what they've said they're going to do. But but let's hope that can come out and make a difference. So how are XR organised? So I said it's a great organisation. It's amazing. It's self-organising. Is there any leadership? Yes, I think there is, although probably a lot of XR people would say there isn't. But there is definitely leadership in the centre. There are some central teams that look at, they call them circles. They're effectively some kind of working group. They have a political circle, financial circle, legal circles, and they have action circles to what strategy circles. What's going to do? But that's the central bit. But the rest of it is highly decentralised. XR Chilterns was set up locally by local people, and local people we can do whatever we like. There's no rules to say you have to do this or have to do that. So we join in on actions that are organised centrally, or we don't, up to us, or we do our own actions. That can lead to trouble, and as you've seen, there have been things that have gone wrong. You can't ignore that, but on the whole, as an organisation, I think it really does work, and the quality of the information and the training that comes out is amazing. Now, in the local groups, we have in XR Chilterns, we've got probably, I think it's nearly 300 on the Facebook site, but probably about 90 odd sort of active members in the Chilterns network, which covers Marlow, High Wycombe, Beaconsfield, Crookham, Maidenhead, and that's sorted out into three what are called affinity groups, which is mainly on a geographic basis. So in the Marlow affinity group, I think I looked the other day on our Telegram chat system. There's 29 members of the Marlow affinity group. We also have working groups, so you can volunteer to be in an art group or a well-being group or a research group and such things that actually work and get things done. So that's how we are organised. What do we actually do? Core activities are actions. So some of these are planned nationally, but most of them are planned, you can see, locally. Some of the bigger things you'll have seen are mainly done by some of the bigger groups, which some of the smaller groups, such as us, will tag on to or not. We will mainly support the big rebellions. It comes on seats. You need numbers to make those sort of things work, and we were quite visible at when I went to the first rebellion I went to, which was in October. And we've done some local actions as well. That will be either traditional protesting, for what that's worth, although it's still worth doing, as well as non-violent direct action, which is causing disruption and making people stand up and be aware, at least be aware that there's an issue to be addressed. And I'll talk about this thing about being arrestable. I mean, arrestables are sometimes at the heart of the action, but for the majority of people, there is no need to be arrested, and you are not held in any disregard for not being arrested. It's a real no blame culture, and so while arrestables are obviously useful for some of the actions that are designed, but by no means it has to be that way. What sort of actions have we done involved in at the moment? There's a big group of people on a walk today supporting the protest against HS2, one of the most carbon intensive projects you'll ever see in your life, and very expensive to boot. People locally have been supporting that for months, and today they're walking the whole of the HS2 route just to highlight what it currently looks like. So I think there'll be quite a campaign of pictures and such like coming out of that. And there's also a current action, ongoing action of no going back, which is obviously, as you will read in most places, trying to ensure the government, local governments and national governments do build back better and put in place, build a green, have a new Green Deal, rather than wasting money on going back to business as usual. So that is a quick summary of Extinction Rebellion Chilterns, and those are the main contact details. So there's a Facebook page which is open there, and there's an email address if you want to get in touch.